It was the kind of cold January morning that made you want to stay curled up in bed, wrapped in a blanket, far away from textbooks and fluorescent lights. But school doesn't wait for anyone. Ayushi, a bright yet reserved 12th grade student, shuffled through the gates of St. Martin High, her backpack slung lazily over one shoulder. Chatting casually with her best friend Mira, they were talking about college applications, crushes, and the upcoming winter dance. It felt like any other day. The school bell rang sharply at 8 a.m., echoing through the corridors. Students hurried to their classes, while teachers sipped coffee and scribbled notes on whiteboards. No one had the slightest clue that by the time the next bell rang, their lives would change forever. It started during the second period. A sudden, chilling announcement crackled through the intercom. The vice principal's voice, usually calm and composed, was now strained, urgent, almost trembling. "Attention all students and staff. This is a lockdown. This is not a drill. Please follow lockdown procedure immediately." For a brief moment, silence consumed the building. Then a flurry of motion. Chairs scraped, doors slammed shut, lights flicked off. Teachers instructed students to huddle silently in corners. Some students nervously laughed it off, thinking it was a prank. But the tension in the air was thick. Ayushi looked at Mira. Both their faces had gone pale. Their teacher, Miss Roshan, locked the classroom door, closed all the blinds, and whispered, "Phones on silent. Do not make a sound." Her hands were trembling, her usual warm smile replaced by raw fear. The class of 32 students sat in complete darkness. The only sound was the distant hum of the building SVAC system and the occasional creak of settling metal. 10 minutes passed, then 20. And then from somewhere down the hallway, the unmistakable sound of shattering glass. The sound was followed by a loud, distorted scream, inhuman, wild. A moment later, they heard something even worse. Footsteps. Fast, aggressive, getting closer. Someone was running through the halls. Someone who wasn't supposed to be there. The footsteps stopped near Ayushi's classroom. The handle rattled. A muffled voice growled, "Let me in." A few students gasped. Mira quietly began to cry. The door handle shook violently, then stopped. More footsteps. Louder this time.
Ow.
The intruder was moving down the hallway. Meanwhile, on the second floor of the school, in a dimly lit computer lab, a young teacher named Devanch was monitoring the security cameras. He was new to the school, having joined just 3 months ago. But he already knew how unprepared the building was for emergencies. Most doors didn't lock properly, and the camera system barely worked. Only 4 of the 16 hallway feeds were online, and even they flickered with static. Devanch watched as a blurry figure moved across the third corridor camera, wearing a black hoodie, gloves, and something heavy hanging from his right hand. A crowbar, a bat, he couldn't tell. He reached for his radio, but it crackled uselessly. The system was down. On the ground floor, in the old basement, where the school's servers were kept, a 22-year-old IT intern and former student. Sumat sat in a small office, eating his sandwich. The room was quiet, lit only by the dim glow of his computer monitor. He didn't hear the lockdown announcement. No one had informed him. The basement PA system had been broken for years. Then came a sound that made his stomach twist. The heavy basement door creaked open. He stood up, confused. "Hello, Dave," he called out, thinking one of the staff had come down. No answer, only footsteps. Sumat slowly backed away, keeping his eyes fixed on the door. Whoever had entered the basement was moving closer. Cautiously, the doorknob turned. "Sumat," a gruff voice said, "get down here." Then the door swung open, and a tall, muscular man stepped in. "You have to leave now," he said, his voice low and urgent. "What? Why? What's happening? Just go?" "Please," the man insisted, holding out a hand. But before Sumat could respond, another voice boomed from above. "Everyone stay calm. This is not a drill. We are on lockdown." And then, a gunshot echoed through the basement. The man in the red shirt reacted instantly. He grabbed Sumit's hand, pulling him towards the stairs. "We have to get out of here," he shouted over his shoulder. "Why? What's going on? Trust me. Just please trust me," the man urged, pulling him up the stairs. "We need to get out of this building." But before they could reach the exit, more gunshots rang out. The man pushed Sumat behind a large filing cabinet. "Stay here," he whispered urgently. "Whatever you do, do not come out until I say so." He disappeared around the corner. Sumat, trembling, dialed 911. A voice in his head screamed at him to run, to escape, to hide. But he couldn't move. He was frozen with fear. Then, a key. The man was unlocking the basement door. "Go," he said, gesturing towards the opening. "Run." Sumat hesitated for a second, then sprinted out of the building. He didn't stop running until he reached the safety of a nearby police cordon. As he collapsed against the police tape, sirens wailed in the distance. The full weight of what had happened crashed down on him. It survived.